Hello and welcome to the Build with Baer Workshop. My name is Pat Baer. I'm here to build a model kit and hang out with you. Ooh, I'm going to adjust this. I'm going to throw the Baer Cave, the Lego, the Scythe emote in the chat. If you're currently a subscriber, you can reply with those emotes. The Scythe if you're a tier 2, the other two if you're tier 1. Or you can just say hi. You don't need to use emotes. We got Harold here. We got Dr. Jones here. We got Lashbrook here. I'm going to hit the gong. It's gong time because Harold redeemed that gong before I even started the stream. Oh, my light is in my shadows, casting reflection, whatever. It'll be fine. Here is this gong. That's the gong. Thank you so much. Hello, Lord Crashington. Welcome. We already got a stellar crew of folks here hanging out. Happy to have you here. I am getting, I am dropping frames. Ooh, this is bad. Okay. Local recording, not running into problems, but yeah, just dropped a bunch of frames there. I'm going to, yeah. I hope everything's cool. Haven't ran into, looking for another gong there. Haven't run into any streaming issues or internet issues today. Had no problems with the internet today. So that is frustrating. I'm going to turn down my streaming there. I'm going to turn down a setting there. That might help out a little bit. But I'm going to hit this gong again. Thank you, Lord Crashington, for also redeeming the gong. And there we go. It's another gong hit. It's cold, y'all. Gongs are affecting the streams. Yes, maybe it was the gong. It finally got cold here in South Carolina, where I'm at. It has been apparently unseasonably warm. Now, is it as cold as it is in places in the Northeast? No, not at all. But I wore a hoodie when I went out today at like noon, and that's the first hoodie. And the first day I wore long pants and not shorts, so that's weird. Harold says that his cup of noodles kit, cup of noodle kit has shipped and should be here by the end of the week. Well, that's great to hear, Harold. I'm happy to hear that. The kit that you gave me a gift card that I purchased, the Gohan figure, it was originally supposed to be shipped in October. That has been pushed to November for everybody. So hopefully I will be getting that very soon. One can only hope. I got a new background here, changing up the background, as you can see over all around me. Just mixing it up a little bit, going for something a little different. Mr. Bob says, hey, Pat, I had to buy new closed in shoes because it's been Crocs all pandemic. Yeah, I hear you. Mr. Bob. Getting readjusted to wearing, like, proper clothing. I know a few people that were like, oh, shoes hurt, because they just weren't doing it. And Lord Crashton says, yesterday we had snow, high winds, and some rain. Luckily, I could stay inside and avoid all that. Well, that's great. Glad you're able to avoid snow. Yeah, I'm in the South right now, so I know that it gets colder, but I was unprepared for the temperature change. I had my window open, and when I woke up, I was cold. I still have the window open a little bit just to promote some airflow because I don't have a fan in here, and my computer does kick off some heat. Certainly kicks off some heat. So when I'm streaming, I do want a little air. So I did crack the window open a bit to let some cool air come in. And if I gotta throw on a hoodie during the stream, I certainly will. But the alternative would be that I sweat, and I'm trying not to do that on streams if I can avoid it. Hey, what's on the agenda for tonight? You're asking yourself. You're saying, Pat, it's a Monday night. What's going on? Well, we built our 144 scale high grade of the core fighter from Gundam Build Divers Re-Rise? Yes. Gundam Build Divers Re-Rise, because there's Builders Try. This is Gundam Build Divers Re-Rise. So we got a little core unit here doing its thing, being itself. And it's got its transformation, so it's got a shield that's really not a shield. But it has armor that goes over it. Now, we started doing some of the work on the armor because the armor is part of the satellite system, so it all looks like a vehicle as it comes in, and then components come off of the vehicle and then go on the kit, and then it has big, bulky armor, which is why the core unit is so small. This is one of the tiniest high grades I've built in a very long time, if not ever. So we're going to do that. We're going to finish all that. And then, and I didn't say what I was going to do. I've had some master grades that have existed for quite some time that I never built. I didn't build them at the time, and I've never built them since. And tonight, when that kit is done, we will get into our next kit, and we will start the camphor. This is a kit from the year 2001, and you know it's from the year 2001 because it comes with this insert here. You see this? This They don't put these in kits anymore. These big weird inserts that go in over all of the trays, and then you're like, why do I have this glossy photo of the model kit I'm about to build? What's going on? So this is a kit from the year 2001, so it is almost 20 years old, and it is a beautiful mobile suit. It's got one of the things it features is a bag of screws. It does indeed contain a little baggie of screws. Luckily, they're all the same screw. That's a fun thing of kits of this era, is that you end up sometimes with screws that they're two different kinds. Some have nuts and some have bolts, and some don't, or nuts, I should say, not bolts. And that's really frustrating. This is all the same screw, and so the instructions are very dated. The kit is very dated. It does have some stickers. Stickers with this color background that looks like my wall behind me. It's going to be interesting. No water transfer or water slides. Dry slides, though. Will I do any of these dry slides? I don't know. Maybe. I haven't done dry slides in a long time. But that'll be a very long time because that'll be the end of the kit. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to retweet my previous tweet here. Kind of remind people that I'm live. And then we're going to get to building. So let me do that. And then we'll continue on with this kit. Go to the notification here. Okay, yeah, got a little love on that tweet. All right, so we'll go here. As you can see, we got our friend here, and you can see there's a lot of armor that goes over it, and a new weapon and all that. So we'll be building that stuff soon. It does have a beam saber. Ooh, let me move this out of the way. It does have a beam saber and a beam dagger. I do like that the beam dagger is as big as the leg. It's bigger than the leg, or at least the beam is the length of the leg. So that's just like, okay, is that a dagger or is it a short sword? Whatever. I do like that the beam saber is so big and long. That is cool. Anyway, we'll put that aside there. Kind of see what's going on with that. We got our shield also that goes on the butt. It lives on the butt. That's an odd thing. It doesn't really fit well. And then we've got our gear here. So we're going to be adding components to this. So we'll put that there. I don't know. Let me just... yeah. Adjusted. Great. I hope you're all doing well tonight. Welcome. We're starting to have some of the subscriptions that we had last month. Some of the guest subs have kind of expired, so I'm watching the numbers go down, and that that happens. I'm not thrilled about it, but it is a part of it. When you are gifted subs, the transition to continuing is pretty minimal. People are happy to have that free sub and not necessarily interested in continuing, and that's their right, and I understand it, but it's certainly not my fave. I do like it when people subscribe and continue to subscribe because it's nice. I should say right off the bat, if you're like, Pat, do you know who you're going to raid tonight? And often I don't. We're going to raid Dave Lang tonight. Mr. Dave Lang, is streaming tonight for the kids. He is doing an Extra Life stream to help out the Extra Life project, but also for Giant Bombs community. And I figured it's a no-brainer that we would go 24 hours of the Lang Zone, indeed. So it was no-brainer that we'll go raid Dave. At the very least, we'll be bringing in some people that haven't been watching him for hours. Maybe you tuned in for some of the stream today. Maybe you haven't at all. Maybe you're just like, I do not know who this is. But we'll go see Dave Lang. Lashbrook says just came from there. Well, great. Well, we'll be returning Lashbrook, and maybe we can get some donations in, or at the very least, we can be a positive force in the chat and kind of bring in some energy, which is tough when you are doing streams. Now, obviously, I am not doing a long stream for Extra Life. I will be I will be appearing right now. It looks like I will be appearing on a extra live stream. I do not know if it'll be multiples, but I have made myself available for some jackboxing on someone's streams, and I might be doing a secondary one. I'm waiting to hear, but yeah, looks like my voice will be in there for some jackboxing, and then maybe something else. I hope to be able to help out um, on some streams to raise some money for the kids. That's the goal. Um, as I said, it is cold out today. I went for a walk, and I was like, yikes, this is not. I mean, here's the thing. I do love hoodie weather. I will say that. I am a big fan of hoodie weather. Uh, but I've only been here a few months, but I got used to the heat pretty fast, and kind of excited about not having the cold. Those It will be nice. I will say this: in the winter months, working streaming out here, it will be very nice to not hear the my radiators in New York, my New York radiators going off and like steam coming out. Lastbrook says still in the high 80s all week. Yeah, it was unseasonably warm here, and now it is finally being seasonal. But yes, apparently it was. I was just experiencing a lack of that, but it's back that we should have. Hey, here's a fun fact for y'all that I found out this weekend, and something I didn't know. Um, because of the pandemic in the 1900s, the early 1900s, one of the things that scientists said was very good for us and that we should get more of as Americans was air. Uh, yes, forced steam radiators are the best and worst, but still always terrifying things on the planet. Yes, yes. Um, so if you haven't experienced this, now some people they hear about heat and they're like, I do not know what you're talking about. What do you mean you don't control your heat? So it's not just in New York. Hey Jam, welcome, welcome. It's not just in New York, but it is in New York. There is a whole most of the apartments that were built in the early 1900s have this thing where you as a renter in an apartment are in no way, shape, or form in control of how much, like the temperature that comes out of your radiators. Now you can in some models, many models, you can change how much heat comes out. Not the temperature, but how much steam comes out, because it's steam heat. Oops, I just dropped a piece and I don't know which one it was. So, but, there it is, found it. It's this back piece here. So yeah, so you're not in control of how much heat you have. How much you can kind of control how much comes out, but not the temperature. There's no thermostat. No, I've never lived in a New York apartment that had a thermostat. So you just turn it on all the way, or you can maybe control it partially, depending on where you are. And you just kind of live with that. My parents would set the heat to keep the open living room, but I need to keep both windows open in the winter. Uh, so we didn't have that, right? In New York, you didn't have a thermostat. You didn't set it to a temperature. Um, Tony says, I've been trying to remember to get sun all pandemic. It's very important to get out there. It has become my job in the house to go get the mail, because that is very least me leaving the house every day. Because sometimes I'm not going for a walk. I'm just biking in the garage, but that's not the same thing. Or in the summer, when I first got down here, I also made it my job to sweep the driveway a lot, because it was just me moving around, being out in the sun, being out there and doing that. That felt like a thing I was doing that was beneficial. All right, we got to start by applying the stickers first. So we need D21. We need 3 of these. So let's get 3 of D21. That's this here. Easy enough. We had a new system that still does have a mercury switch. Wow. So in New York, I'll try to finish this up. So in New York, you just have radiators. And the thing that I never understood was, Why is the hot like it's steam? Uh, you would have radiators in several parts in the apartment, like in the bedrooms, and then in the living room, maybe the kitchen, and then in the bathroom, there would just be this pipe that would go up, and it was a hot pipe, and it have a little release, and it would just go from the boiler all the way up. Uh, and so you want to make sure you don't accidentally touch that pipe because it is hot. But in the other rooms, you had a radiator, and it would get hot, but it wouldn't be too bad. I mean, the actual heat of it wouldn't be terrible, but it would be kick out a lot of heat, and often it would be too much heat. Why are these apartments so hot? Don't hot. Yes, do not touch the hot bathroom pipe. If you go to stay, if you were in a place that has that silver painted pipe in the bathroom and you could hear steam come out of it, you don't touch that pipe. It is very hot. All right, we got to apply some stickers to this to our Uranus armor thing here. These things all need stickers, so we will apply stickers. And it says do stickers first, so we'll put the stickers on first. Um, so it turns out the reason why it's so hot and it's unbelievably hot. Why is it so hot? Uh, why is it so hot in here? Well, the reason why it's so hot is because you're supposed to keep all the windows open. Because in the pandemic of the early 1900s, the scientists reckoned that, hey, the way to beat this is good air circulation. Let's really get that air moving around. How do we get that air moving around? Keep all your windows open. But it's going to be winter and it'll be cold and it won't be freezing if the windows are open. Well, we'll crank up all of the steam powered radiators. Will just radiate more heat than you would normally need to compensate for everyone having all their damn windows open. So that's why. Now, do people want to keep all their windows open now? No. Do we still have the same heating as we did then? Yes. Is it a big fucking bummer when you're like you wake up and you could hear that rattling and you know this heat's coming? Um, it is your own steam, Mr. Bob. It is the boiler. At the the heat comes from the building, but you just don't have any control over it as a tenant. Um, and and yeah, that is why it's the radiator heat is overcompensating. Hello, welcome Northern Lights, welcome, welcome. We're putting stickers on some components of the Uranus armor, which is this thing here that goes on this over here. And I'm talking about in New York and many other places as well, and why they have radiator heat, and why it is so dang hot is because it is compensating for the idea that you would have all your windows open. And you know what? You know what I did in New York for many, many years in many, many apartments? I slept with the windows open. Also, having the windows open in New York was bad for streaming. So when I streamed in the winter, you can imagine this was a couple of years of the winter where it's very hot, the heat is on, you got temperatures rising, so that's hot. I've got lights on because I got green screen because I often had a green screen when I was in New York, so I've got that going. And you add to that the very fun of suddenly having the windows closed because I don't want the sounds of the city while I'm streaming. And that was why I would be in a t-shirt and shorts, sweating completely, totally, and drinking lots of water because I was just, sweating through in the winter months. And it was a lot. And then as soon as the streams are over, turn off the lights, open the windows, breathe. Breathe in that cold air. Oof. Steam heat is no good for PC cooling. Yes. Also, my computer would be as far away from the radiator as possible uh, in order to kind of compensate as best I could. Here, we got central air conditioning, which is also the heat. The heat has not been turned on since I've been down here with this computer, but I will soon learn how that works when the time comes. All right, so now we're going to cut these pieces here. And they attach like this. There we go. Aha. All right, so we've got one of these on. We're going to do these three. They're all the same. So they all go on together the same way. But yeah, so that is, that was me learning a little bit about why it is the way it is. As the same way that I have been so thrilled to have real air conditioning while I was down here, having heat actually, now I will say this about steam heat. Being from Arizona, steam radiators only existed in cartoons. Yes, Tony, I can imagine. Uh, I can imagine the steam things, and also you mostly saw them in cartoons where they were used like accordions for somehow, or bagpipes, I guess. But yes, no, in this part of my life, I don't have that right now. But in New York, that was a big part of it. I will say this: the dry heat that I will have here when the heat is on in this house will be very bad. When I wake up, I will have lots of dust in the old body, which I didn't have when I was dealing with these three of these. Do I have to do three of these, or is this? Let me look at this. It doesn't say three. Sorry. Oh, I guess one of these doesn't have extra stuff. Just two of these do. Okay. All right. Now I understand. Sorry. I was confused. No, I will say that yeah, the steam heat at least didn't really affect my breathing. They hiss, scream, and pop, but if you're sitting over the right pipe, they go boom. Yes, indeed, exactly. There was lots of hissing. That is a common issue of that kind of heat. I do miss it though because I miss New York. So I miss my landlord not turning the heat on after the first cold day because he didn't notice it was cold, and then I was freezing, and I would have to text him and go, "Hey, what if the heat came on?" And they're like, "Oh, okay." I kind of miss that. I mean, honestly. I mean, I've said this. I don't think there's any shame in me talking about it. I miss New York. I do very much. I have truly, truly enjoyed spending the most time I have with my parents in 20 years. This has been really great. I've really enjoyed it, but I also very much miss my life in New York and doing things. And of course, some of those things I could not be doing now because of the pandemic, but I certainly miss being there and doing things. I talked about this on Twitter. One thing I do not miss um, uh, is teching, working in the tech booth for comedy shows uh, on election night. I did that because for the 2004 election all the way through the 2016 election. And I don't miss that at all. Okay, now how does this go together? Okay, it ends up this. So it's gonna shift in here. Yes, but I very much do not miss that. I did talk a bit about how the technology worked for that. So some of you may not remember this, but in 2004, network television, like primetime, like cable news, the cable news was a thing. The big networks, ABC, NBC, Fox, CBS, they didn't have channels you couldn't just watch their live stream coverage of the election. You watched their coverage on television. There were some people that were reporting news on the internet, but YouTube wasn't a thing until 2015. So there wasn't, and while there were some streaming things, it wasn't a popular known thing. So if you have a live comedy show in the year 2004 and you want to have election coverage on, you have to figure out a way to project or run on TVs the local television. So over the air was still a thing. You could still get the channels with an antenna. So what we did was we had We had a TV antenna to a coax cable, a very long coax cable. We ran the TV antenna from the door down, because it was a basement theater, all the way down to the theater. Did that, and then ran that into a VCR and a TV with a TV on it, so that we could get all the signals and stuff. And then we ran out of the VCR uh, to RCA or S video. I can't remember which one, but it was one of the two. To a projector, and then we projected that out to the audience, which actually worked out okay. It was a decent enough signal. We were able to get everything, and then I think the next election, by then we were able to like get a live stream of some kind of coverage, and from that point on, it was never a concern because it became more and more popular. You just go to YouTube, or if you don't even want to go to a website, like whatever, you just go to YouTube, and then everyone's got their live streams on there, and you can just watch whatever for coverage. But at the time, it was like we had like a meeting about it because we were like, hey, we want to do a election night show. How do we make that happen? And it was like, well, we really had to think about how that was going to work out, and like, what did we need, and what do we have to buy, and did we have enough stuff to get this done, and all kinds of things. And then it was just like, okay, now we're never going to have a problem with this. This will just that ended up not being a concern eventually. All right, I don't know why this doesn't want to come together. I'm clearly screwing something up, but let's take a moment here. We'll just look at this again. All right, this goes here. This goes like this. Here. Like that. Yeah, okay. And then this is going to go like this. No. Yeah. Like that. Okay. Sorry. There's another one on the other side, and once I get this, that'll be all easier. Yeah, okay, so we got that going, and then this is going to go here. All right, we got one half done. Now let's do the other half, which is another. We need two B power P13 and B16. Great. But yeah, that was one of the technical hurdles of the time. I've had a few technical hurdles like that over the years of like, hey, they want to do this thing. How do we do that? And you're like, okay. My favorite was Andy Daly, who's a longtime UCB performer that moved out to LA very early. Made his way out in LA, but he had a show in review on Comedy Central, and he wanted to have a debut the show in New York and watch it live as it aired at our second theater because it has a nice big screen, good audience. We're like, oh, this will be really fun. It was like the second season of it, I think. I can't remember which season it was, but he wanted to do that. Problem is, we didn't have cable, and he wasn't going to air live on Comedy Central's like internet website or whatever. So what are we going to do? Well, let's get cable. That'll be good. This theater has a bar. That way we can have it have like two cable hookups, and we can mostly have it in the bar. But if we want, we can take the box into the theater, and then we can air like sports in the bar with closed captioning on or whatever, or anything we want to do there. Put on award shows, whatever. We can do that. That'll be a good investment. So we're going to get business and whatever. So this is a couple months in advance. We've got enough time to be like, okay, we can get this. We're going to get cable in here. That's going to be cool. So there's an appointment. Time Warner's going to come out, do the installation. Time Warner, who are now Spectrum, but they were Time Warner at the time, they come out, try to figure out where the cable is outside, try to figure out where the cable is going to go. I believe that we had like a DSL as our internet there. We didn't have a broadband cable, so we were like trying to figure this stuff out, going to get this going, and the guy's just like, it'd be really hard to run your line. And we're like, oh, okay. So, sorry. And he was like, yeah, because, we got to really get on the roof, and then we got to move this other thing, and then, oh, I got to get the cable from the line to the roof. And we're like, yeah, yeah, sorry. That's a bummer. Are you all alone? You can't bring anybody else in? He's like, yeah, all right. See you guys later. And just left. And we were like, huh, what do you mean? And so the guy who works one of the guys who works in the office who was handling this project was like calling Time Warner Cable, calling their business line, and was just like, hey, we had an appointment and your technician left. Our technician left. And they're like, oh, huh, okay, well, we'll look into it. And then, they don't call back. They don't do anything. And so then eventually he calls back again, and he's like, hey, hi, I talked to so-and-so. I'm looking for more information. We are trying to get cable here, and the technician said it would be hard and then left. And they were like, oh, yeah, he didn't want to do it. It's just difficult, and you're only the only person in that building that would want cable, so we're not going to do it. And that's the only cable television provider in that area, so we just didn't get cable. We ended up getting a Blu-ray of the episodes that were going to air and just playing them on the Blu-ray, which is, in fair, is better because that way we didn't have cable, or so we didn't have commercials, and we were able to run them when we wanted to, and start when we wanted to. It wasn't the same, certainly, but it was a lot easier for us. But it sure did fucking suck, and yeah, that was the thing. We were just like, oh yeah, they're a monopoly. They don't need one more customer. They need, they want thousands more customers. They don't care about anything. Why would they want to go out of their way to help us? Yeah, it's hard. Why bother? And like I'm sure, so some like repair people, a lot of repair people that work for cable companies are, they're employees, direct employees. But a lot of folks that do like installation, um, are not. They are contractors. So he was just like whatever this dude was saying. It was just like whatever this job was, how hard it was not going to be worth the money he was going to get to do the job because he gets paid to do it if it's easy or hard. So he was just like, well, not worth it. And then they were like, yeah, if he didn't want to do it, our other guy isn't going to want to do it. So we just didn't get cable. Uh, and that's why you need competition. If you're the only game in town, then you as a consumer have no way to do anything. You can't do anything. You just have to grin and bear it. Which was it was a good lesson to learn, but it was a shitty one, especially if we had like needed it. Like if we were like, oh well, I guess we need this. Uh, it did suck because we had bought a television for the bar, and we had a television in that bar that we occasionally plugged the laptop into, but that was certainly not the same. It was really frustrating. I was very happy that it was not my job. That had nothing to do with me as a tech person. I had to like make sure it worked, but I didn't have to like deal with the issue of a company that doesn't want to take your money, which is always the weird thing. That's always a weird thing, right? When you're just like you're doing a job and you're like, or you're dealing with a company and you're like, but I want to give you money for goods or services. Why don't you want that? And they're just like making it very difficult for you to do the thing that you want to do. It shouldn't be surprising, but it often very much is. uh, Between like customer service stuff or like just people who you're like dealing with, like when you're dealing with trying to book a project, get something done, and you're just like, this shouldn't be hard, this part shouldn't be difficult, why is this part so difficult? And you just realize that you're like, oh, you get paid either way. Like it's very difficult to get a liquor license in New York. Not because their standards are particularly high or difficult. It's because the office that um, writes out the licenses, the groups that do final approval, and the people that actually write out the things and get them to you get paid either way. There's no incentive in the office of licenses, particularly for beer and wine, but many other licenses as well. There's no there unless you have somebody there that very much wants it to happen. It just it's like whatever. Like they get paid either way. They get paid if they issue 100 licenses or 0 licenses. And that was always a real fucking bummer. Hey, I want to thank whoever renewed their subscription. If you got that notification and you feel like hitting that button so that you can say, hey, I renewed my subscription, feel free to do that. You, of course, do not have to, but if you would like to, that would be rad, so that we can all say thank you and do the little applause thing and say thanks. But you're under no obligation to do so. Well, if you wanted to share, you could. I'm just kind of rambling about issues with stuff like that. But yeah, that was a really like harsh lesson to learn, that it was just like, oh, nobody cares about this. Uh, it's like, either way, either will you do it or you don't. Who cares? Unless someone decides that it's important to care. It's always a very frustrating thing going through red tape and all that. Like, I would almost prefer the Chicago thing, which is Chicago, nothing gets done unless money happens. Now, I am not saying, I am not here saying, I'm definitely not here saying that in Chicago, if you want things to happen that would happen normally legally, you got to pay people. You got to pay people money outside of the job money that they're getting from the city. Some people might call that bribes. Some people might call that payoffs. That you're doing things by the book, and part of the process is giving people money that you shouldn't have to give, but you do have to give it. I am not saying that happens in Chicago, and that is just the way things are, no matter who is working and who is running things, and that's just Chicago. I am not saying that. I am only saying that I have businesses that I know who were having a lot of trouble, and then they got a particular lawyer who made some mentions of some funds that needed to move around, and suddenly things happened. And those things were things that should have been happening, and they just did. The cost of doing business, yes. Now, I'm not saying this is universal all over the place for everywhere. I'm not saying that everything is like that. I have worked with local city government stuff that has worked very well and moved very well. But it is frustrating when you're dealing with departments that don't seem to have performance reviews, or don't seem to particularly have anybody who is really passionate about getting the work done. And that is a frustrating thing. Yeah, it is very a bummer, very very poor feeling when you're like, oh, none of this is important to me and only me. All right, so we'll put this on here. I can't wait to put all this stuff together on. So this is the weird thing about this kit, right? We're going to be putting all this cool shit on here. We're building up this Uranus thing. Uranus armor, whatever. It's got its ship components. We're going to put all these components on, and then when we're done, we're going to take all of the pieces off of it individually and put them all on the core unit so that it has the armor, which is just an odd thing, but we'll get it done. And then this is going to go. Okay. Oh, we got another sticker to put on. D23, and we'll put a sticker on D23. But yeah, I have certainly seen my share of that kind of to me it's just a bummer. It's just a bummer to deal with that sort of shenanigans when you're just trying to get something done. And I hope that the next time I have to deal with that, I end up dealing with a group of people that are psyched about their jobs and getting payment out there and get people the money they need and all the other stuff. Get the work done. That is the hope, is that eventually I can end up in that position. To totally change the subject, because that's what happens sometimes, I made banana bread. And I think I burned it a little bit, but it's still very good. That is the thing about ovens that are not your oven, is that there are hot spots in those ovens, and there are cold spots, and you kind of need to know your oven. And it's hard to know that stuff. Baking is a science, but also sometimes there's a little like wiggle room. But there's banana bread, and it's very tasty. I had some of it tonight before the stream, and it ended up being real good. I'm not much of a banana person. I'm not a banana man. Uh, Myself, I don't want it on cereal. I don't want it in a sundae. I don't want it. If it's in my packed lunch, I'm gonna be like, ah, man. But banana bread is pretty good. Pretty good. A little bit of butter on there. Maybe I want to heat it up a little bit. Maybe I want it cold. I don't know. I got options. You know, I'll live my life the way I want to live my life, and so maybe I want that. But I'll say, ended up pretty damn good. Uh, Bananas are good in most forms, says Lord Crashington. Yeah, every oven has a sweet spot. Yes, Tony. Every oven does have a sweet spot. There is a spot where it's just like, okay, this is the goods. We get the goods out of this. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm not much of a banana person, but I do know that sometimes uh, you just want something tasty, and I think banana bread just kind of hits the spot. All right, then we're gonna need PC7. So one of these. And put this on here to this spot. Alright, and then I need E1. Take this out here. I cleaned my kitchen top to bottom today, says Caillou, in case I feel the need of whatever reason to bake a bunch of tomorrow, Wednesday. Yeah, I understand. Yeah, maybe you need to do some emergency baking. Maybe you need to do some stress release baking, or perhaps time killing baking. Maybe you need to do some cooking, and you just want to put your phone. Oh, it's time to charge your phone. There's no phone charger in the kitchen where you are, so you can't look at your phone because your phone's charging, and you're just in the kitchen doing whatever. That's not that. Huh, weird. Oh no. It's going to look away. Guess we'll just do this. Oh, my phone's only for podcasts today. Weird. So weird. I know I can look at the internet on my phone, but I'm not looking at the internet on my phone right now because I'm busy. Oh, color page. We're on the color page. I'm busy cooking. Yeah, it's like, oh, weird. I went for an extra long bike ride today. Strange. I wasn't expecting to go for an extra long bike ride today, but turns out I am. Going for that extra long bike ride. All right, so we did one of these. You might have noticed as I put this together, this is going to go on the ship, but also, hey, look at that. This is also definitely part of some sort of feet apparatus here. Weird. This is definitely also something that's going to go on here. That's going to go on the feet armor, but it's also combines into this. All right, let's build the other one. We built that one. Then we'll do the exact same on the other side. It goes here. Nice and easy. We need B and C. These parts are spread out all throughout, but this is basically almost all that we have left to do here. And then we'll combine it all together. I'll show you what the Uranus armor looks like on its little stand, because it comes with a cute little stand. And then I'll also show you what it looks like when we take all the components off of it and put all of them on our core unit. And then we'll move on to another kit. we will take a pause for the cause in about 10 minutes because it'll be time for that then. But yeah. I have not. Look, I made a plan to vote because I already voted. I did absentee ballot because I will return to New York. I have all the plans in the world to return to New York, and it was a lot easier to do absentee ballot than it was to register to vote here. And I was able to send my ballot out, and that all worked, and it was received, and great, and it's going to be counted, and that's good. And then I could vote in the local election, which I wanted to, because I will return to Brooklyn because I love Brooklyn. So I did that. Was able to go and vote, so that was good. But tomorrow, I haven't really come up with a plan for what I'm gonna do. I know that I will mostly be on Twitter and then trying to not be on Twitter, but probably on Twitter. I'm sure that I will be reading stuff and watching things and freaking out and having a little bit of money in my pocket that I can donate to Pizza the Poles and yelling, just indiscriminately yelling at being whatever, late breaking stuff and being frustrated. And then eventually being like, yeah, 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 or like, oh, and then like, and then hopefully at the end of the day I'll be like, okay, we'll see. And then like definitely like blocking someone that I thought I had already blocked or muting someone I thought I already muted. Like that's definitely going to happen. Or like there'll be like a retweet that comes across my timeline and I'll be like, I thought I muted this. I thought I like blocked this person. I guess I didn't. My plan is to avoid as much as possible. Drink and beat Senator Armstrong in Revengeance. Brooke, that is a plan. Getting in your Revengeance over there. The best Metal Gear. It's not the best Metal Gear, but it's a good game. It's a good game that's also somehow a Metal Gear game. I do have a soft spot for Metal Gear Solid Revengeance. It's just a great name as well. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, like people just have to do what they need to do. Lot at stake. A lot of people in a bad spot, depending on where it goes. It's better than Metal Gear Survive, at least. Well, Cal Union, it is definitely better than Metal Gear Survive. So you're not wrong about that. Yeah, no, I mean it's got a great vibe. It's got great bones to it. It's got some bangers in it. Uh, while I think the joke of him wearing the sombrero is a kind of a funny idea, the execution of the joke I don't think is good. Because I don't think it does enough to be like, oh, he just like has trouble being a human, because like that's definitely part of it, but like I don't think it's enough. There is a lot of good stuff in that game though, a lot of good fun. uh Robo Dog, it's a good Robo Dog, like don't get me wrong, but yeah, I think there's some components to that I'm like haven't the jokes didn't necessarily hit then, and then they didn't age, but there's some quality to it. There's some fun to it. It is a fun time. So I'm not against it. I did not engage because you can't feed the trolls. She's not a troll, but she trolls. She does trolling. Um, Gail Simone, comics writer, and all around lovely person. Gail did a bit of business. She does a lot of things where she will tweet things that are very inaccurate, and if you know, you're like, "Oh, Gail," and if you don't know, you're like, What's wrong? What are you doing? What are you talking about?" She did a thing where she like mislabeled a Gundam. Uh, this Gundam is weird, and then it was like it was some other robot, and it was like, oh, that's kind of fun. And of course, some people didn't understand and were just mad about it. Um, And I almost just replied like, ha ha ha, except some Gundams are just very weird. But I was like, that's not the joke. The joke here is that you're going to put in like a GoBot and be like, yeah, but this is my favorite Gundam or whatever. You're not going to reply with a real Gundam. It's like, yeah, you want to play along with the joke, but it's like, I don't know if Gail Simone knows that there are windmill Gundams, because there are weird Gundams out there, and like maybe she doesn't know about all of the many, many weird Gundams in the world. She might not be aware. Uh, I'm sure someone did, but I don't like jumping on the joke. I try not to do that. Especially if it is someone who is a lady. Lady identifying, yes. Lady identifying folks do not need a dude like me, or any dude of any sort, to reply, to be a reply guy, to be like, actually, there are a lot of really weird looking Gundams. She doesn't need that. She doesn't need that in her day. Whatever. Did she open herself up for it by saying that? No. That is a thing that we'd have to, as a society, have to come to terms with. That when people make jokes, they're not opening themselves up for corrections on their jokes. You play along with the jokes if you want. Playing along is fine. That's part of it. It's fun. But we don't need to be correctors out there. We can just in our heads go, because that's what I ended up doing. In my head I went, actually there's some very weird Gundams. If you want to talk about weird Gundams, we can talk about weird Gundams. But she doesn't need me to say that. Maybe she knows. Or maybe she doesn't know. Correcting a joke is not a yes and. Yes, indeed, Kali Unit. Well put. It is not a yes and. Yeah, it is not going with the thing. To go with the thing, what I would do is I would post a photo of the Megazord and go, oh, this is my favorite Gundam. Or I would say something like, I love it when smaller Gundams combine to do a big Gundam. And then I would post a photo of Voltron. That is yes-anding. That is going with the joke. That is playing along with the bit. But if I'm just like, have you seen the Devil Gundam? It's like, no, that's not playing along. Yes, the Devil Gundam is weird, but that's not what we're talking about. That's a different thing. You do a thread of, man, G Gundam. What even? The first alternate century really swung for the fences. Did it swing well? Probably not. Did it swing? Certainly. It certainly did. All right, so we're going to finish this part here by putting all these components where they need to go. This is going to go here. Oops. This piece really likes to come off. That's the thing about this like shell here is like, oh, this piece likes to come off. Well, yeah, it's supposed to come off because it's got to come off this and go on the other kit. So like, yeah, it's got to do that. That's part of it. It's part of it. Anyway, the nice thing about Gail's Twitter is that it often is just very silly things and people having a good time. And I just think we need that. Like, we just need it. Like, I follow Mondo Mascots. Mondo Mascots is just a Twitter account that is just mascots from Japan, like local prefectures. We had another drop. Hopefully everything's okay on your end. Sorry, buddy. It's happened again tonight. I might, before Wednesday's stream, reset the router. But I won't do it tonight because I'm streaming right now. But I had no problems earlier in the day. And that's frustrating. But yeah, Mondo Mascots. That's a great Twitter account if you're not following it right there. It's just cool mascots from like this energy company's mascot. And sometimes they're like, this is very, very cute. And sometimes you're like, this is terrifying. Why is this a thing? Why would someone make this? This is some sort of noodle thing that's eating itself because the noodles are so good. Why would you make this? Why is this your idea? Why did you think this would sell things better than whatever else you were doing? No. And sometimes you're just like, I don't know, this is the dog that that breakdances. Oh, okay, okay, cool. Sure. Have fun. All right. So we're going to finish this stuff off and get this all together and then put the stand on. We're going to take our pause for the cause once I complete all this. Harold says, good night. Catch you later this week. Harold, you have a great night. I'll see you later. I got my bonus stream on Wednesday, building again on Thursday. Feel free to come back if you'd like. Yeah, I got Wednesday night is Pat Bear's Anime Club night. That's right. I am doing another live episode of Pat Bear's Anime Club where I talk about the shows that I'm watching this season. This is like my, into the season review. I'll go through all the shows I dropped, the shows I'm still watching, kind of give you some ideas in case you're like looking for some anime to watch in the year in this season and you want to know what's good. I will hopefully be able to instruct you on what I like right now. At the very least, I'll tell you about what I'm watching, and maybe it'll be something that you're into, or it might just be, and people will be able to chat and tell me what they're watching. I don't know how this connects. Like this? Oh, does it go like this? It does. Okay. Sorry, that's looked very confusing. It is confusing. What's this? How does this work? I can tell how this goes. This goes like this. This connects like this. How does this go? But yeah, that's Wednesday. I'm going to be talking about some anime. Of course, I always talk about anime, but this will be specifically me talking about the shows this season that I'm watching and enjoying. And hopefully, get some sense of what's going on out there. Tried to watch just about everything. I mean, there are shows that I haven't started at all because I have no interest in watching them, and I have heard no one say anything about them. Like, I'm actually surprised that I don't know anyone who's watching the. Right now, I will say I don't know anybody watching the Dragon Quest anime. And I thought I would know somebody who was checking it out, but yeah, nobody I know is watching it. I do have one friend watching Hypnosis Mike, and they tell me things about it, and I'm glad that I didn't watch that. I think that is an interesting premise, but I'm more than happy to not be a part of whatever the fuck that is. Because that just seems like a whole investment in a world. You gotta go be on wikis. You gotta listen to a lot of music and try to get the translations of the lyrics. It's a whole thing. That thing is a whole thing. It's a media empire. Ooh, we just got a raid with a party of 4 from Bring Potatoes. Welcome, Bring Potatoes. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Build Bear Workshop. I'm doing a model kit right now, and we're finishing this kit up. This is the Uraven model kit from Gundam Build Divers Retry. No, sorry. Gundam Build Divers Re-Rise. Retry is a different thing. This is Re-Rise. But welcome. Happy you're here. We're just finishing up the Uranus armor because it comes in on this like flying thing. We're going to put all the components together. And then you take all the components off and you put them on the model kit because we got the little core unit here. It's tiny. This is a high grade, but it's very tiny. But yeah, we are almost done with that. I'm just getting some of the last components together here. And then we'll put it all together. But yeah, welcome. Welcome, everybody. Happy to have you here on this raid. All right, and just started my crossbones tonight. Decided to show some gunplay love. Yes, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Yeah. So I will give you the tease, folks. So we still have to. We're done, almost done, completely done putting this together. And we do have the camphor, which is the next thing we're going to build. This is a kit from the year 2001. What? Yes. A model kit from the year 2001 will be the next thing we build. It's a great master grade. Does it involve screws? Yes, it does, because it is a kit from the year 2001. So it does involve screws, and it in the arms and legs. Is it a very old kit? 100%. It's 19 years old. It came out. It literally came out in January of 2001, so it's almost 20 years old. But I am looking forward to working on it. It's a kit I never worked on back in the day because I was kind of done with model kits when that came out. But I am excited to try something out like that. All right, so let's put all the components together of this, and we'll do this. Okay. So this goes. These go here. Always fun when I'm. It's always fun when I am working on on something that I have no concept of because it is from a show that I do not watch. I am enjoying a lot of the high grades that came out the past 2 years, and a lot of them are from Build Divers and Build Fighters because those are the shows that are on right now. So that is what you end up getting. You end up getting a lot of shows like that. And I think that's cool. But it is odd because they're shows that I'm not watching. So I'm like, I don't know what this is supposed to be. It just looks cool. But if it's a show that I really know a lot about, then I have no problem. Which is like, yep, I know this goes here and that goes there, and this looks like that, and it's very easy to put it together because I have a lot of knowledge about the show and about the kits. All right, and then we got to put. This is going to go here. This. And as I said, a big component of this is all of this has to kind of connect together, but also be easily removed because this is all armor. This is just the docking for the armor. Instead of it just being a sheet of armor, it flies in like this. Let's ease the HD since you can see them finished on stream. This RG Crossbones is really time consuming, very new for me. Yeah, real grades are very time consuming because they're the 144 scale, but there are a lot of tiny components, and often there are gimmicks that are brand new. They're trying the gimmicks out in a real grade, so it can be very difficult. All right, so I'm going to take a photo of this because this is now build complete. This little thing. All right. Let me just take a photo of this, and then we will put the armor on. And we'll see that. I do want to take a brief moment to just. I'm not going to do a full break here because we just did have a raid, so I don't want to take a full commercial break for telling you all the ways you can support the channel. I will say this. Folks that are watching later on YouTube for this archive, you can find all this in the show description below. I don't always say that, and I should. I'll just say this. If you want to become a subscriber, you can throw the Bear Cave leg of the scythe emote for the folks that are subs. It's a new month, so bits and coins will put you at the top of that leaderboard. Gifting a sub will put you at the top of that leaderboard. Becoming a subscriber through Cash Money or through becoming a patron, or sorry, not a patron, using your coin because you have Prime Gaming. That's a great way to support what I do here. All the money I make through Patreon and through Twitch goes to me buying model kits and equipment. I just got a payout from Patreon because it's the beginning of a new month. I have a Patreon. It's the best time to join my Patreon if that's something you'd like to do. There's a $1 tier, a $3 tier, a $5 tier, and a $10 tier. And this is how you join that. You go to patreon.com/PatBaer. It's the best because it's the beginning of a new month. So as I said, I'm not going to take up a lot of time talking about ways you can support the channel. I have a Discord. Please join my Discord if that's something you'd like to do. It is a great way to support what I do here. But yeah, bits and coins, gifting a sub, becoming a subscriber yourself, joining the Discord. These are just some ways you can support the channel if you want. And if you watch this later on YouTube, there's some links to other stuff I do there. YouTube.com/PatBaer is my website, is my YouTube link. And that is I put up archives of all of my streams. I also put up other content there. That is a cool little place to go and check out what's going on with this guy. Um, so, now what we're going to do. What's going to happen now, Pat? Well, two things are going to happen. One, I'm going to uh, take all these components off and put them on our core because it's time to upgrade that and modify that. Put all the core fighter, put the and make this the real Uraven by putting the Uranus armor on it. So we're going to do that. I'm also going to talk about 3 anime shows that I watched since my Saturday stream, because that's what I do here. Let's talk about the anime I watch in the second hour. So we'll do that. But first, I'm going to drink a little water because my throat's a little parched. This will be a great time for you. If you want to stretch out, you want to stretch, you want to stand up a little bit, you want to roll your arms, you want to take your hand off this position because you've been crumped up in an odd position there. I'm going to do that too because sometimes I end up tucking my feet and I want to stretch those out. Really just enjoy the space for a moment. Okay. So, we're going to start by, we'll take this stuff off here. We're going to prep our kit by removing the hands for a moment. Taking this there. We're going to pull back the legs. We're going to pop off the arms. And we're going to extend the shoulders out. And it looks like we are ready. We are prepped and ready. Oh, we got to take these parts there too. No sports coming girls this week. Wow. Well, I talked about that Saturday night, Kalu, because that show comes out Saturday afternoons. Thank you very much for the follow, Bring Potatoes. I talked about Sports Common Girls on Saturday because I watched it on Saturday. So, Uranus always needs armor. Thank you, Lord Cratchit. So, on Saturday I talked about Sports Common Girls where, it was a very emotional episode. This is some real ass. I'll give you a brief review, Cal Unit. That was a real ass sports anime ass episode where you had a girl like you've only seen her be smiles. She's the young short one who is got great reach because of her limber abilities, but she's short and she had some real struggles and didn't move on to the semifinals. But by the end of the episode, Konomi and June were pumped because not only they're going to do it for themselves, they're doing it for their teammate. They're gonna do real good in the semifinals. And then we also met some other characters that we hadn't seen before. Calling one character Black Panther is still weird. It's still a weird thing in the year 2020 to refer to this character as Black Panther. But overall, good episode, solid episode. So that was but I talked about that on Saturday. So now let me tell you about the 3 shows I watched today. Okay, so we got to see what comes off here. This comes off first. I mean, I think all of this comes off, but we'll put that there. That comes off first. These come off. And we'll just deal with, and then these 2 here, and we'll deal with this first, and then we will deal with the other parts of this thing because they are going to come off here. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to put on our front skirt, the new front skirt components by these lifting up and folding down, and hopefully these look okay by doing that. And I will talk to you about By the Grace of the Gods. So this is definitely my favorite isekai of the season. There's only 3 isekais this season, so it's not hard to be my favorite. But this one is definitely my favorite of the 3. This episode was fine. This was like last week's episode had a lot more like danger, but this one had some fights, which was kind of interesting. So I will say this. The monsters in this episode were all computer generated. Did they look weird compared to the regular animation? Yes. The slimes, I think I give a pass to because they're supposed to look a little odd because they're slimes. So I kind of usually give that a pass. These were like big cricket monsters, and the crickets or praying mantises. I can't remember. I think they're praying mantises. Anyway, they looked fine, but they didn't look great. I wish that they weren't computer generated in that way, and they were just the regular digital animation. But c'est la vie. Yeah. Oh, there was a new kind of slime that we haven't seen before. So Ryoma got a new slime, which is a metal slime, and he does alchemy, which apparently nobody's done. It is kind of amazing that he can do alchemy. So that was like, okay, sure. Alright, so it's gonna go like this. Um, and then there was some training, and it was a fine little episode. Uh, he is going on a mission because apparently the rest of the mine has a lot more monsters in it, probably. So Ryoma has been tasked with other adventurers to go in and work and get clear the mine of monsters. And it's all the uh, adventurers we met in the last episode. So we got a lot more uh, beastkin. So we got a lot more monster, or animal girls. Basically, they're monster girls, but they're also animal girls. So we got more of that. And also, there's a guy that they said he's a dragon newt, but he just looks like a samurai with bushy eyebrows. So I'm very excited to see if he's got actual like if he's got like, I don't know if he turns into a dragon or not. Hopefully he does. But he's a cool looking character. So I do want to know. And there was combat training and elemental stuff and spatial training. Now Ryoma knows how to make. Let's see what I wrote there. Oh, he can do more spatial magic where he can like open up a big portal that all his slimes can go in, so that way he can take all his slimes with him. He doesn't have to put them in a. Now he doesn't have to put them in a backpack, which he was doing before, or a big basket on his back. All right, so now we put the legs and then the waist stuff on here, and now we got to attach the arm stuff. So we'll do that by taking. Take these components off and this component off. I still need to check out all the new anime out this season, so these updates I'm all in for. Well, good. I love the slime isekai. Yes. Yeah, it's fun. By the grace of the gods, this new one, which is a working man who was always kind of, he just did what he was supposed to do, but he never really like struck out on his own and didn't. He could have worked harder, but kind of lived like a bummer life. Dies and then is resurrected, and now he's a guy who trains slimes and is a little kid and hanging out, and he's got a cool little family that he's with, and you just have to forget that he's a 30-something-year-old man who's been reincarnated as an 11-year-old boy. And once you forget that part of it, it's a perfectly fine little anime that I do like. But that, by the grace of the gods, this one is like, there's going to be some action, but I definitely don't think this is going to be pretty slice of lifey, pretty chill. The other isekai this season is Kuma 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 Baer, and that's there's been some action in that one. That one's weird because the episodes were done in a weird order, which is the problem with that show. But otherwise, it's pretty good. And then the one that's my least favorite of that, but like I'm still drawn to because it's just so strange, is I'm Standing on a Million Lives, which I do like because right now the main character in that show is an complete and totally irredeemable asshole, like, and I enjoy that. They're making comedy out of the fact that this dude sucks and probably won't ever be a good dude. And I really like that. I really like that they're just like, we have not figured out a way to make this guy like in any way, shape, or form redeemable. And I think that's actually kind of interesting. Those are the isekais this season. Now, a show that is a slice of life. It is a complete and total slice of life. As I've said before, this is a slice of life about comedy. It is not a comedy show. It does have some laughs in it, but it's mostly a lighthearted, earnest and honest look at stand-up comedy, particularly duo comedy, the style of duo comedy in Japan. And it is called Maesetsu Opening Act. This is just like, what if two sets of duos are young ladies that have graduated from high school, two are in part-time college, two didn't go to college, they're just working, and they're all want to be duo comedians. And then they've got their senpais who also work at the same place they do, also are also duo stand-ups, and they're kind of like showing them the ropes a bit. So this episode, one of the girls, Nayatu, she's the blonde from Art Deco. She gets invited by her sister. Her sister married into a family that runs a hot springs inn, an onsen, and so she gets like recruited. A bunch of people got sick. Hey, could you come with some groups and do two shows? You'll be doing shows here at the inn, and it's a paid gig, and they get to go to hot springs. This episode is not fan servicey. They are in a hot spring. It is weird for episode 4 to suddenly have characters in a hot spring, but I will say that this was not fan servicey, and I appreciated that very, very much. It definitely could have been fan servicey, and it wasn't, and that's really nice. It was mostly just like pretty chill, pretty laid back. It's about the process. This anime is about the process of like being in comedy and doing shows. Um, so Nayatu does wonder if her sister is testing her by bringing her to do this show because it's going to be a rough crowd because they've mostly done shows where like at least a big portion of the audience knew someone that was doing it. So this show, so this performance they're doing it for an odd, not many people, and they're all very old. Like the entire audience is old. So it is a rough crowd. One dude is reading a newspaper and he does not look up during either of the girls' sets. He is just like reading his newspaper. And then there's another guy who is definitely fucking asleep the whole time. And it's a bummer. They feel really bad. They start to second guess themselves. They need a lot more experience. Now they're the group that closes, Freak, the established group, they tailor their material for their audience. They do relatable content. They tell jokes about being old. And some of the jokes are like kind of brutal and kind of dark, but they win the crowd over. So the young ladies kind of see, all right, they got another show tomorrow night. So are they going to do their material that they've been working on, or are they going to try to tailor their material for the audience? And it is the whole show. These are really annoying to put on. This part of the armor here, folks, fucking very annoying to put on. I'll tell you right now. I think I might take this headpiece off here. Give myself a Just take the headpiece off here and put on this part like this. Give myself a little more room to work with, I think. I think that might help me out. Yeah, this show is very relatable. Oh, there's one other component. So one of the girls has a younger sister who she's still in school. She's still in middle school, but she is thinking about getting into stand-up and doing this duo stuff with her friend. And they watch a clip of the successful young duo, J.K. Cool, and they're like studying them, which is a lot of what you do when you're first starting out in comedy. You kind of overanalyze. You try to fully analyze people who have made it, and kind of go like, oh, okay, so what's the point of this sketch? What's the funny part of this sketch? Why does this bit work? Why does the audience like this? You do a lot of that. It's a very honest and earnest portrayal of like that vibe. Like the first group goes out and bombs. They get no laughs. They get no response. They feel terrible. And then the other group's like, oh, we have to go out there now, and we also have to do this. And then it's almost worse that their senpais, they're the group that's more established, they're not well known yet. They're still, a group on the rise, maybe, but they do well. They figure out like they get the audience, and it's like It's almost worse that it didn't that not everyone bombed. So yeah, it's an interesting show. I like it a lot. That's Maesetsu opening act. I don't. Why can't I fucking get these things to go on? Sorry, I'm gonna look at this again. This looks right. Do I have to start with these out more and then slide them in? I don't know. Sorry, everybody. This is kind of bothering me because I'm like not quite getting how these work. Oh, the last show I watched is Sleepy Princess. Sleepy Princess in the Demon Castle. This episode was weird, y'all. Okay, so major premise of the show, big premise of the show is, there's a young lady. She is the princess uh, for this kingdom. She has been kidnapped, and she is now in the demon castle. But her thing is, she wants to sleep. She really likes sleeping. That's what she's there for. She doesn't really care about this other stuff that's happening to her. And it's comedy. It's a light comedy. It is the voice actress of Rem, or not Rem, yeah, Rem from ReZero, and she is also uh, Hestia from. Is it wrong to try to pick up girls in a dungeon? So that is that voice actress. She's having a good time in this show. But this episode, so what happens in this episode is, why is this so annoying? What happens in this episode is, apparently, the female demons have all been out fighting and are just returning now. So now we have some new characters, and they're kind of finding out what's going on with this girl, because the princess, which we haven't really had any dealings with. They haven't had any dealings with her yet. So now they're just kind of, for the first time, being like, what's going on with this? And this is the point where I feel bad for a demon character for the first time, because the princess has always been like selfish, but most of the time it's like been misunderstandings where like she wanted a thing and other people are like, oh, is that what was supposed to be happening right now? Well, you can't do that. And in this case, there's a harpy, and this harpy has always wanted to hang out with humans. And she's always, in particular, wanted to have girl talk. She's always wanted to have like time with some girls, to have like pajama party and hang out. And she's bummed to find out that because she's like making a lot of noise and loud, that the princess does not want to hang out with her. That's a bummer. And you do feel bad for her. But the princess does want help getting this big piece of fluffy cloud from some part of the tower. It's a whole thing. It's fine. That's the big story there. By the end of it, the harpy's happy because she thinks they're friends, but it is very clear that they are not friends and that the princess has been using her. And it's kind of a bummer because it's like, aw, wish you were nicer, princess. This harpy just wants to be your friend. Okay, so this is the part where I remind you folks, this piece right here does not want to sit on this piece at all. It does not want to hang out there. It wants to fall off all the time. It is not designed properly. These pegs I think need to be a little thinner. You might have to go and shave it there, and that is a bummer. So that is just going to keep falling off. This whole section thing is just going to keep popping off, and that's a bummer. Anyway, I'm going to put on this part here. Goes there. Okay. The second part of the story for Sleepy Princess, which was fun overall, it's a fun show. The best part of the episode is She's just bored. The princess is bored. She needs to have more of an active day in order to be able to sleep well. So she's bothering the demons, the demon lord and his meeting, and she has a vizula. So she's just playing a horn. She's just blowing into a horn and just bothering people because she was just bored. I don't know why that was the thing she really wanted to do, but it was. That was the thing she really needed to do, which was just like bother them. So eventually, so they're like, "Hey, get out of here!" And the new character who we had not met before, what was her name? Allura, is like, "Oh, don't you feel bad? Like you should feel bad for her. We kidnapped this girl, and she doesn't have anyone, and she's lonely." And they're like, "No, she's a monster. Let's talk about all the ways that this girl is a monster and sucks." And they're like, "Oh, okay, we'll talk about it." Long story short, the Sleepy Princess just straight up like takes all of the fights this giant log man who happens to be Allura's older brother because she's a plant demon. She just looks like poison ivy, but he just looks like a big tree, and it's not nice. And she ends up with a log bed, and Allura is like, it does end in a comical method where it ends comically, where she says like, "Are you really a human?" Just a fun little bit of business. So overall, it's a fine enough episode. This wasn't my favorite episode of the show. I will say again, I was kind of bummed because I was like, boy, this girl is kind of an asshole. I didn't realize she was going to be so much of an asshole on the show. But she definitely is a big old jerk. All right. So this goes on. This. Now we're going to build a big gun. We are almost done with this, and then we will get a little bit done. We'll get started on our next kit here. But yeah, that's the anime I watched this week. As I said, it was perfectly fine. A little bit of a, I think one of the episodes was a little bit of a bummer, but otherwise it was all right. Yeah. This season's been okay. And as I said on my Wednesday, my bonus stream, because on Wednesdays I don't play. Wednesdays I don't often do building. I do something else. On Wednesday I will chat about some anime that I've been watching this season. All right, and this is the Uranus armor completed. Show it off there on camera there. That is a completed armor set. Oh yeah, you can take the weapons like this. It's a little I mean, obviously it makes the kit way taller, like a normal high grade. All of the feet armor there, so you can kind of understand why it was so small before. Is it my favorite kit I've ever built? No. Is it all right? Yeah, this is all right kit. I would call this totally okay. This is a totally okay model kit. I think it does look way better with all the armor, but it is not my favorite kit out there. It's not the favorite thing I've ever built. But we will take a photo of it, and then we will put it aside, and then we will start looking at our next kit, which is, as I said before, the Camphor, which is an old mobile suit that we're going to finish up. Oops, try to get this. Let's try to get one photo on. Of course, this little shoulder piece did pop off, which is annoying because I'm just going to kind of rest it there just to get a photo. I'm kind of okay with that. There we go. And we'll just get a photo of this going here. Then we'll start the new thing. Cool. Photo done. Put all this here. All this there. And camphor time. The camphor. Ugh. I said this at the beginning of the stream. One of the things I really like about this kit is, look at this. Look at this, the insert that comes in the box. This, you don't see these anymore. They don't do this They don't do it these days. You don't get this cool glossy photo that's just also the front of the box. Uh, this is an old master grade. As a 2001. Uh, yeah, just like here's the thing there. You get the photo of what the kit looks like on the back. I love the yellow here. I will say I don't think this blue is wrong from the photos and from the show. That is a thing that I noticed right away. Is this shade of blue? I think it doesn't show up as well on camera, but just know that this blue is a little too teal. Um, and is kind of a bummer. Let me this. It's shiny. I like that, but it is in person does not work as well as I would like. We've got some wire here. We got we got wire that comes around for some of the weapons, and also this kind of nice braided rope here, which is very cool for the hoses. I like that a lot. Good weapons on this kit: double bazookas, machine gun, shotgun. This kit has a shotgun. Just weird. And of course, it has a chain whip that is just mines on it, which is just a strange thing. There's a lot to love about this kit. What I don't love is the very first step involves working on with some screws, and I don't love that, but we'll do it anyway because we got it. Some of these steps I'll be doing 2 at a time. Some of these steps I just do 1 at a time. The usual. We'll start this here because we're going to start with an arm. That's right. We start by building. Yeah, we're doing the arm units here. Start there. But yeah, it's the Kempfer. Kempfer is a pretty cool kit. Also, curved yellow beam sabers. The beams for the beam sabers are curved and yellow, and I like that. I think that's neat. All right, we need BCI here, which is a little hard to read the letters here, but I'll find them. What does it look like? It looks like that there. So it's these. Great. So do that. And we need a bunch of H pieces. So let's find H. And this is I. So this is H. Great. We did it. I'll start to learn where everything goes here and how this all works as we go. I will say this yellow, this kind of orange, I should say, not yellow. This orange, it really pops and looks really good. There's a lot to really like about this kit. There's some stickers that we got to put on, and it'll be fine. We're gonna have a good time with this thing. We'll just get some of this done here, and come back to it on Thursday, which is the plan. That is the plan for the evening. Is on Thursday will be to continue this kit. I did make a purchase for something that should arrive tomorrow to do in the future because my own personal backlog. Yeah, I'll mention this now. My own personal backlog is kind of low. I am going to put in chat. I did add some stuff to because I didn't talk about it when we talked about ways you can support the channel. My wish list. I did add some stuff to my wish list, and there will be a few new things going on the old wish list that people can buy, and then I'll build on stream. That'll also be in my the show description here on YouTube if you're watching this later. Hey, YouTube. But yeah, I put a few new things in there, some pre-orders for things. But I did pick up a Pokemon model kit that I originally pre-ordered earlier this year, and then they canceled my pre-order. Amazon was like, no. Hey, thank you for the follow, Wicked Chevy. Thank you very much. Please appreciate that. Amazon was like, no, you don't get this Lucario set. Sorry. It's 2 Pokemon. You don't get to build that. And I was like, oh, well, maybe someday I'll get that. Turns out someday is now. So that's coming, and that'll be a future build, which I'm excited about doing in the future. As I said, it's a future build. All right, so put this here, and we need H5 and H11, H8. It's there. Okay, and yeah, I've looked up a little bit about this kit. As I said, I never put this together back in the day, but it seems to be pretty sturdy. Sometimes folks ask me, like, why does this have screws? And mainly it has screws because at some point they were just trying to figure out how to make more stable kits, because kits in the 90s, some kits in the 90s just were not stable at all. And so they did a lot of experimenting with, like, figuring out ways to make this a better product and a better time. And one of the things they came up with was, like, maybe a screw at the waist, or screws in the legs, or screws in the arms. And it was just to prevent it from being a floppy mess. And for the most part, it does work. It sometimes does not work well at all. But oftentimes, it does make it much more of a sturdy kit. It is weird that you have screws in a kit that's not, then you're like, well, this is supposed to be all snapping. Just snap all this together and it works. What do I have to put a screw in there? And also, a lot of times the screws don't fit well, and that's weird. Or they're just not proper. They don't, like, I don't know how to say it. Like, the holes aren't necessarily set right for the screws, and so sometimes you have to work it. So, like, disassembling a kit like this, you really would have a lot of trouble disassembling the skeleton of it. And you might look at this and go, Pat, this screwdriver seems really too big for the size of screw you're working with here. And it's not, because you really have to force these screws in. You really have to put a lot of pressure in there. So you kind of need to strip the screw a bit to get it in there properly. So that's why I use this size of a screwdriver, because it is really required for stuff like this, which is frustrating. All right, so there's H, and then we put I4 and I2. Let's get one of these I's out here. 4 and 2. There's 2. There's 4. Great. So yeah, this will be the next couple streams. We'll be working on this master grade. I haven't done a master grade in a bit. Excited to work on one. I've been doing a lot of high grades, and we did a real grade not too long ago. So it'll be nice to get back into it. Of course, we did the Cup Noodle, and we did the Saturn console. So that was definitely different. These are very odd. Those are odd kits. So it'll be nice to work on something. Even if it's old, this is pretty traditional. And I don't mind doing those now and again. Let's see. All right, so it's going to go like this. All right. But yeah, so this week's schedule, Thursday, Pat Baer's Anime Club, the episode where I'm going to talk about the stuff I'm watching this season, what I like, what I don't like about it. So that'll be... wait. Yeah, that'll be Saturday, or that'll be Wednesday, I should say. And then Thursday, continuing on with this build. And Saturday, continuing on with this build. That's pretty much it. That's the way it goes. I will have a poll up for my $3, $5, and $10 patrons to decide what I do next Wednesday, because that Wednesday will be the patron's choice. I like to do that every month. My $3, $5, and $10 patrons get to choose a thing that I work on. I'm one of my bonus streams, and so they'll have a choice of a couple different games. The week after that will be the day after a new Hearthstone expansion with some returns of some old gods, so that should be pretty cool. So I'm excited for that. That will be in the Corrupt mechanic. exploring that. So that'll be the following Wednesday, and then the last Wednesday of the month, because there's just 4 Wednesdays this month. The 25th, I will be doing a oops! Oh no! Dropped a piece! Oh no! It's a connector. I found it. Found it. I'll be doing a build stream on the 25th because the 26th of November. Let me get that date right. Yes, the 26th of November is American Thanksgiving. So I will be doing. I will not be streaming on American Thanksgiving. I will be with my folks, and I will be enjoying Thanksgiving, and then I will be probably watching videos on the internet. But I will not be streaming. So that week I will be doing, and there'll be no bonus stream. And on Wednesday I will be doing a special night build stream because that felt like the best way to be able to keep my schedule. That way I'll still do 3 nights of building that week. It's just that I won't do a bonus that week. My $3, $5, and $10 patrons will have a choice of a couple different games for me to play. Hello, Jones. Welcome. I'm not sure exactly what I'll be doing then. I think it'll be like I'll do my Twitch Sing stream, or I can do a I don't know what else. My Pokemon Randomizer run. I can return to that, or I can do I don't know. I got a few options. Trying to think. There's a game that I definitely just got into. I bought a few decent kits at Barnes & Noble. Oh, nice. Hey, it's always good to look at Barnes & Noble to see if there's what's on clearance or what's there on their websites, because sometimes they have stuff that's in store pickup, or their shipping sometimes is on sale. Or if you're like, you get yourself a gift card to Barnes & Noble and you're like, I don't know what I want to get. Well, maybe you can get yourself a high grade you forgot about. Haro figure. Oh, nice. And Barbatos Lupus Cross Silhouette, and it was $30 for both. That's a great deal. Nice. That rules. Congrats on getting a good deal. But yeah, Alex did that Bag Songs Rock Band stream last night and featured the Spin Doctors 2 Princes song on it. Oh yeah, 2 Princes. That is. I'll probably have to do that in a future Twitch Sing stream if I end up doing that. It's 2 Princes. Yeah, that is it's a pretty bad song. The lyrics are just not great. It's a fun song. I mean, I like that they went on Sesame Street and then changed the lyrics to be about monsters. 2 monsters, and I think that was fun. That's a fun choice. But other than that, I don't think that's a great song. They're real bad. But yeah, I've got a few options for next week's bonus stream, including a game. What is the name of that game? Steam game. Cloud Gardens. Cloud Gardens is an early access on Steam, and it is I think it is one of those chill kind of vibing things. You're taking overrun a little garden scene in 3D, or it's like a urban decay, and then you're going in and adding plants and stuff. It seemed neat. I have not investigated it enough to be this game rules, but it was on sale. The Steam early access was on sale for $6, and I'd heard good things about it, so I was like, okay, I'll get this. I think it's normally 10. I saw one of the new games on Switch, says Lord Crashington, is a date sim VN, so that's visual novel, with Picross puzzles in it. I wonder how much of that is a dating sim and how much of that is puzzles. But that sounds kind of neat. And visual novels on the Switch, I'm all for visual novels on the Switch. That sounds fun. That sounds cool. I'm definitely into that. that does sound like a good time. So that's cool. All right, Oh yeah, tomorrow I gotta remember to send out. Speaking of Patreon, I gotta send out send out stuff a day early to my $5 and $10 patrons. They're gonna get my next Baering the List video. I ranked something. Pixel Puzzle Makeout League. Okay, that does sound like, if it's with a name like that, it does seem to indicate that puzzles are an important element of it. Uh, so hopefully that's rad. I don't know. Sounds fun. All right. And we're just putting some armor on here. We are going to wrap up in a minute or two. We're just kind of getting started with this kit. I didn't even say we were going to do it. It was kind of like a, oh, well, you're here for the stream, so you get to know what I'm working on, which is this kit right here. There's a lot of nubbins on this. This is something they did not figure out in the year 2001. There are going to be a lot of this is a kit that really needs to have, for as I'm going, I'm probably going to have to get out the sandpaper stick. This kit has a lot of, yeah, there would be a lot of really poor bleed here. Really, you'd really need to sand all this down and paint it, which is unfortunately a thing a lot in the years this kit came out in the 2000s, in the late 90s, early 2000s. That was definitely a thing that happened a lot, which is a real bummer. All right, we'll put a little more armor on this, and then we'll wrap up. We are going to go and raid Dave Lang. If you don't know Dave, now you're going to love him. You're going to love Dave. Dave is raising money for Extra Life. He is doing 24 hours, so we will go and give Dave some love. I already knew that before I was even going to start, that we were going to raid Dave and see what Dave's up to. That'll be good. But let me get a little bit of armor on here, and then we will end the stream for the evening. Just get a little bit more art on, or armor. Said art. I mean, I guess it's art. I guess this could be art. Get a little more art on. I don't know. Yeah. I will say, the thing about going to old kits, I would never start if someone was like, "Hey, hey, I want to start with kits from my childhood." I would be like, make sure you can get the re-release of it. Don't start with the ones, because kits this old, it's just, I think they look cool because the mobile suits are cool, not because the model kits themselves are cool. Because there's a lot to be desired about these, particularly just at the very least the lack of English in anything, and sometimes they are very confusing in what they are asking you to do. So it's not a deal breaker, but it's not as easy as buying a kit from the year 2020, let's say. Oh, their website is their URL is pcross.love. Yeah, that's pretty good. All right, so we will continue on with the kit where we left off here. In the future, I'm just going to go and make sure that Dave is not on a break or something, but I think we're going to raid him no matter what. But I just want to make sure that looks okay. I'm just going to go in there and preview. Oh, Dave's got a bunch of people. Maybe he doesn't necessarily need our raid, but we're certainly going to raid him and share the love. Yeah. So that is going to wrap up this stream. Thanks for everybody that stopped by, particularly folks that came in on a raid. I really appreciate that. We are going to go and give some love to Dave, so feel free to come along the raid. If you don't feel like coming along the raid, you don't have to come. It is nice if you can, but you're under no obligation to make the trip with us. But we will be, I'll be streaming again on Wednesday for Pat Bear's Anime Club Live, which will be my kind of season check-in, talking about the shows I like, talking about the shows that I passed on, the shows I haven't watched yet. So we're doing that. I hope you have a great evening. Feel free, as I said, to come along in the raid, and hopefully I'll see you on Wednesday. And if not, back on Thursday for the camphor. Uh, Oop, that I had the wrong thing there. I wrote the wrong dash. There we go. Now we're set up to do a raid. Dave is streaming. He is wearing right now a beard. I assume that's a fake beard because I don't think that's his beard. Um, so we'll go give Dave a raid there. Feel free to come along. Thanks so much for hanging out. Hope you have a great rest of your Monday. Stay safe out there. Vote if you can. If you're a United States citizen and legal age and ability to vote, please go out and vote. And I'll see you soon on the next Bill with There. Bye bye.